There we go. We are, it appears, official YouTube. So, hello. Thank you for clicking on, and a good evening to everybody. It is it is Friday night, and normally Chris is on um, with us on Fridays. Hopefully, he will be here tonight. However, I've had phone problems all week long, and not been able to get in touch with Chris phone wise. We've exchanged a couple of online messages, but I'm not sure he's going to be here. The link is up there, though. Hopefully, he does show up, and we've got some, because there are some things we need to talk about. Hello, Fred. Thank you for being here. And again, thank all of you for clicking on. I know most people watch at their leisure and not live, and I appreciate any time that click on to what's going on here. Pat Tolliver, hello, thank you. Um, the last time I was on, I believe it was the last time I was on, or the time before last, the title, one of the subjects in the title was the Israel attack impending on Lebanon. And I am that information from a trusted source, and I think things are just going to keep heading in that direction. And I've got some things to show here coming up shortly that I think leads credence to that. Um, what I kind of think is going on. Um, as far as what's happening within Israel, and possibly what's going on outside of Israel. Uh, Israel is getting ready, in my opinion. Israel's getting ready to decide that the war in Gaza is complete, and they've done all they can to um, eliminate Hamas. Want peace after this, Israel. That's where they are looking. Now, what is coming is not going to be peace. Um, Israel is preparing for an attack by Hezbollah um, in the north of Israel to try to open a second front. Is engaged on in the south while they're still engaged in Gaza, and in the north um, in Hezbollah, with Hezbollah in Lebanon, specifically southern Lebanon to begin with. And I think that, Chris and I talked about this. Again, I'm not sure he's going to be on, but Chris and I talked about this, that this might be a three-phase thing, being Israel engaged with Hamas. Hamas inflict as much damage as possible on Israel, and then Hezbollah engages Israel and inflicts as much damage as possible on Israel, or even succoring Israel, trapping Israel, drawing Israel into a trap, inviting Israel to invade southern Lebanon. If Israel does invade, it is a potential trap because it makes it a lot easier to attack Israeli forces by Syria, Iran, Iraq, Afghani, the other forces that are going to be involved eventually, if what we have said is coming is coming. And that would be, phase two is about to begin if we're right here, and they do go into northern Lebanon, or into southern Lebanon. We'll just see how it plays out. My sources say that um, there is going to be the first thing that's going to happen is going to be an airstrike and massive, massive airstrike into southern Lebanon, possibly Syria. Um, and I think I heard Chris click on here. Let's see, I did. Let me get him up here. Chris, how are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Barry, and everyone in the audience?
I'm hanging in there, man, hanging in there. So, I'm talking about what I think is going to be happening in um, southern Lebanon and northern Israel over the next few days. And I think we're going to see a significant encounter. What are you thinking?
Um, Eventually, yeah, we will see a significant encounter with Hezbollah and Israel. It's been brewing for some time. I
Right.
actually thought it was going to happen sooner, but it didn't. But now, since they're kind of like going at it a little bit more, it's inevitable, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I really think Hezbollah is going to do is going to destroy Iron Dome or do their best to destroy Iron Dome. And then once that occurs, they're just going to just pummel Israel. I mean, it's nothing different than what Hamas was trying to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, same strategy. You know, but Hezbollah has a hell of a lot more um, missiles and rockets than Hamas does. So
That's what I was about. Can you talk a little bit about how much different it's going to be with them engaging with Hezbollah than it has been against Hamas?
yeah, Hamas is it's just Gaza. And even though they get a lot of the weapons, a lot of those rockets are homemade rockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the rockets that Hezbollah gets, they're coming from like Syria and they're coming from Iran. So those are, you know, the real deal missiles and real deal rockets, as opposed to what is coming out of Gaza.
And at some point we're going to see the Black Flag brigade coming down out of Afghanistan, are we not?
um, the black flags out of Coruscant.
Khorasan, yes.
Yeah, eventually, we are going to see them, but I don't think
Do
that's going
you?
to
I mean,
happen.
that's what. Okay, I was talking about how um, could this be a trap for Israel? Um, Israeli forces go into or go into southern Lebanon. It's going to be a lot easier to attack Israeli forces inside Lebanon than it would be inside Israel. For Syria, for um, Afghani militants, and once, like you said, that once Hezbollah weakens the Iron Dome, that weakens the entirety of Israel,
Oh, most
and
certainly.
and at some point, um, could there be a plan in the Muslim coalition, if you will, that we everything's going according to plan, the way the Muslims have it drawn up? Um, all of NATO's focused at the moment on Russia and Ukraine, so there's not going to be a whole lot of NATO help coming to Israel. The United States is getting drained.
Yeah,
Um, are things not falling into place like we've discussed how this could all play out?
right. So I think we discussed the whole thing about how they're trying to collapse the United States, right? How Iran
Mm-hmm.
once the United States is collapsed, then they're really going to attack. Israel, right? So they're just waiting for things to happen. Like, and I don't know if you saw yesterday that Putin, was of course making friends with North Korea, and then
Mm-hmm.
also we already talked about the China Taiwan thing numerous times, but then this whole Hezbollah Israel thing, it's going to be a regional war, you see,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of like I think what what Israel wants, but then also that's what Iran wants as well. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that Saudi had turned his back on Israel. Did you happen to did you see that?
Yes, I did. And Saudi also happened to turn its back on the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, yeah. Did we cover that last
Uh,
time?
Reports
Because
are coming out that Saudi Arabia was perhaps more involved with September 11th attacks than previously thought.
yeah, so
That those things aren't coincidental.
nah, so the whole thing about it is, um, I think we talked about how they dropped the petrodollar, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
had that agreement with the United States for almost like 50 years, maybe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they said, well, we're not going to do this anymore. And then of course it's all part of BRICS, right? To just to actually drop the petrodollar, right? To collapse the dollar, but then also
Mm-hmm.
weaken the dollar, but it's also going to weaken the United States. And I think I talked about how a lot of these countries, like the U.S., sanctions these countries, right? And a lot of times, well, from my understanding, is that these countries, the reserve currency, right, is the U.S. dollar, but they can't use it um, because they're sanctioned. So guess what they do? They're like, okay, you want to do this? Well, we're just gonna drop it. We'll never use it ever again, and we're just gonna totally like ruin your country. Since you want to play this game we're gonna play, and we're all gonna team up on you, right? We're all gonna team up on you, and we're gonna collapse you, and we're gonna like drop the U.S. dollar.
Yeah,
So
we're
this,
going to significantly weaken the dollar at best, and we're going to collapse your whole economy.
right,
Is what the
right,
plan
and
is, and nobody's talking about it.
yeah, well,
And
it's gonna happen,
I
as
know,
you can see,
I know,
Yeah,
it's happening. All the pieces are in place. All the arrows are pointing. Countries are um, starting to move away from the dollar.
yep. So I think Zimbabwe was one of the countries that kind of like started that. Okay, they since United States sanctioned Zimbabwe, yeah, they do that all the time. They're like, okay, well, we're just gonna drop the U.S. dollar, and we'll get another currency, in here that
Mm-hmm.
they'll take the place of the U.S. dollar. And like I don't think the United States ever expected anything like that to even occur. You know, so
Right,
this is, I
right.
mean, it like I said, it's not just one of these countries. It's several countries that are actually doing this. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like you said, it's going to happen. So I think people need to like pay attention to the writing on the wall if they're not paying attention to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't foresee it getting to the point it did in movie Civil War, where it was $300 for a sandwich, um, but with Canadian money you had a much better value. Um, but it is the value of the dollar is going to start significantly dropping because of the impact of all these other countries teaming up, like you said. They're getting ready to vote us off the island.
And that's the plan. You see, that's the plan. So,
Chris, I've got a question that I've asked a lot of people, and no one has answered me yet. the United States is in massive amount of debt. However, we're not even the most in debt nation in the world as gross domestic product and how much each individual actually owns in the debt kind of thing. But we're in the top 10, and China's in debt, and Russia's in debt, and most of the European countries are in debt. And my question is, if all of the major nations in the world are in debt, where's the money?
Good question. That's a good question. I can't even answer that one.
Yeah. All right.
Unless it's with the
Um,
gold. Unless it's with gold, you know.
yeah, might have to go to the Yukon and see if I can work for Parker Snobble and get on Friday Night Gold Rush and vibe. Seriously, should people have a little bit of gold
Well, if they're going to
for a
drop the
worst case
dollar,
scenario?
if they're going to drop the
I mean, I
dollar,
can't, but huh?
right? I mean, if they're going to drop the dollar, it, it's always good to have some sort of backup currency, and gold is. I think gold is the standard globally. Is I think I'm correct on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think gold is actually the standard, which can be used anywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
gold's pretty much accepted world over. Um, you mentioned other currencies. It probably would behoove people to have a few extra, have some money set aside if they're flush enough to do so in alternative currencies. Money.
Right, right, right. So I don't know if your audience is familiar with forex. That's trading in foreign currencies. Have you ever heard of that?
I have,
Forex
yes,
trading.
but go explain it because I've never talked about it on here, and most of the people that'll end up seeing this probably don't know much about it.
All right. So forex is um, you talked about other currencies, and like when I'm in like foreign countries, right? We always measure the U.S. dollar against that foreign currency. Okay, so that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why like you'll see a lot of Americans live overseas. Okay, because that U.S. currency, that U.S. dollar, up against up against a local currency goes 10 times further than it ever could in the United States or even in Europe. Okay, so like if you go to like the Dominican Republic, like the Dominican peso, it might be like you could get like 5 Dominican dollars to 1 US dollar, or maybe even 20. Okay, so that's 20 US. That's $20 of their money, which the average Dominican maybe can get maybe like $3 or $4 or $5 a day. You see, in their
Mm-hmm.
currency. Meanwhile, you have 20 of it, $20 of their money, which a lot of them aren't able to do or able to get, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that money that you have, that US currency, and you use it down there, and well, actually, you um, turn it,
Convert it.
you convert it, right? You convert that currency into their currency, like the Dominican peso, and it goes a long, long way. But if they get rid of the U.S. dollar, and that dollar is no longer as strong as it would be, you know, in that country.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like if that dollar is like maybe let's say 10 to 1, okay. Every 10 of their dollars is equal to 1 U.S. dollar. But if they get rid of of the U.S. dollar, they drop it, then that dollar could be dollar for dollar, you know, with that country. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's just paper.
right, exactly. You see, so the whole thing with forex, and I'm saying
Yeah,
the whole thing with forex trading, you're trading in different currencies. Like you want the currency that has got the most value to it. Okay, and right now, I think it's like the U.S. Right now, it's the U.S. dollar. Okay, that's where it
hmm
is. Okay, but like I said, since they're trying to drop the U.S. dollar, I don't know
it's
what
not going to stay that way for.
right exactly. So is BRICS coming out with their own money?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it might be whatever BRICS comes out with,
it
but
might
it
be
has to have
BRICS, it might be the euro, it might be the Chinese yen. We
right,
don't know, but
but it has to
but
have
if they
something
devalue, the more they devalue our dollar, the more all of their currency values rise.
right, right. So and keep in mind, we talked about the petrodollar, right?
So,
We keep in mind we talked about the petrodollar, right? So since Saudi has dropped us, um, that petrodollar, right, is no longer as valuable as it once was. You see, so I mean, these are just things to consider, and the whole forex thing, like I said, it's really about trading in foreign currencies
hmm
to see actually who has the most value of the of the money of the economic system. You see,
hmm
and I kind of used to deal with that stuff a long time ago, so I have a little bit of knowledge of it, not a whole lot, just a little bit, but the knowledge that I have, and that's kind of like how it works. I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting, but now the dollar is getting ready to crumble. You better have some, you better pick
It
another
wouldn't.
currency.
Yeah, it would be wise to have to be able to be able to make some purchases and possibly, and especially if you're
Exactly,
going to find
because
yourself
that's what you have to do.
traveling somehow.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. If you travel,
All right.
uh,
Yeah.
no. I'm just gonna say if you
Go ahead.
travel and the dollar and the value of the dollar has dropped, you better pick another currency to use in that country. I'm telling you right now, because if not, you're
Right.
gonna, like in Europe, like when I was in France, France and the UK are relatively expensive. You know, um,
hmm
the dollar doesn't exactly go a long way there. Okay,
hmm
if the dollar's weak in like Europe and they like get rid of the U.S. dollar, you traveling to Europe, it's not going to benefit you whatsoever. It's not. And if they, like I said, you travel to like places like the Dominican Republic or Colombia or even Brazil, that dollar, if they devalue the dollar, it's going to be like you're just using their own currency, you see, and
Yeah.
you're not going to get very far with with our money. So that's the
Right.
value of our money. You see, when we're overseas, it
Okay.
it, it means a lot. It really does. But and I see it because I travel a lot. But
Yeah.
to your audience, I don't know if they travel internationally or not, but the dollar really does go a long way. But
The
it's
moment.
getting ready to change. Right.
Yeah. Okay, Chris. I don't know if you've seen this kid or not. Um, got him up on the screen.
Come on, man. That's too easy.
He's playing on a 10-foot goal.
How tall is he?
He's is his name. He is 7 feet 9 inches tall at the moment. He's 17 years old, getting ready to graduate high school and go to play for the University of Florida Gators.
He's got a French last name, right?
Yeah.
Where's he from?
I think he's from. I think he was born in Canada, and he's been playing ball in Florida.
Okay. All right.
But
And how tall is he?
as you can see, he basically. Here he
Yeah,
is at 12 years old.
he doesn't have to jump.
No, no. Here he is at 16,
But you know
and
that.
now at 17, he's 7'9".
Jeez. But you know, here's the thing, Barry. I mean, yeah, he's a big dude. You know, he's a big dude. But you know, a lot of those players in college, they're not as big, but they might be a hell of a lot stronger in the paint. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
You
oh
know,
yeah. He's gonna have to put some bulk on, and he's gonna have to strengthen up a little bit to survive in the paint, without a doubt.
yeah. So
Um, but he's going to be he's going to be the tallest player in NCAA when he goes in at seven foot
yeah,
nine, and he's expecting to grow. Um,
he's
okay,
expected to grow.
he's expecting to grow. Yeah, yeah. He's only 17, and he's 7'9" already.
Jeez.
So, all right, Shaw. Ah, crap. Shaw Goldstein, um, the CEO of Noga Energy, the independent system operator for the Israeli energy grid, stated on the 20th yesterday that during a conference in Sardot, uh, if the Israeli power grid was prepared for a war against Hezbollah on the north, and he basically said after 72 hours without electricity in Israel, it will be impossible to live here. We are in a bad situation, and we are not. Netanyahu really doesn't have a choice politically, does he?
Nah.
He's got to kind of take him into war, and he's got to continue the war, doesn't he? And if it's not
Yeah.
in Gaza, it has to be in Lebanon.
Listen. Listen. He started it. He needs to finish it. Bottom line. You know. Um, you see, like because they're gonna lock him up regardless. You see, because they're gonna come after him. Don't think they're not.
Right. Yeah, he has no choice. He's going to get locked up.
Right. So why not?
Netanyahu's going to go to
Right. So why
prison.
not just all right? Well, we'll go to prison. I'll tear it up. Just tear it all up. Right.
And couldn't we kind of say the same thing about Putin? Isn't Putin kind of in
Was
the
the
same
ICC after? Is the
situation
ICC after
or
him too?
similar? The yeah, the is after him too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be, but it'd be kind of hard to like lock Putin up in his own country. It's really mission impossible to lock these people up, you know, in their own countries. So they
Right.
can, I mean, you know,
You got to catch them when they're not in their own country. And
right,
Putin's not going to leave. He's
right,
not going to go back to Europe.
right, right. No, he better not.
And the only play, I mean, he went to North Korea. Uh, all right. This kid brought his mom's rocket ship to school for show and tell day.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you have there today? Show and tell us. Tell us what you brought in today. Okay, you can have a seat. Thank you for showing. Just to recap the rules, we show and then we talk about it. That's the tell part. Who's next? Philip. Philip, what do you have?
I brought in a rocket ship and mounted underneath her pillow.
Okay,
You to turn it on. Then it buzzes like a rocket ship.
all right, you can have a seat now.
Look out, Mr. D. Coming
Oh,
in
no.
for a
No,
landing.
it's good. Is it okay? Okay, you know what? No, let's not do that. Oops.
You broke his rocket ship.
Oh, now you talk.
Oh, yeah. I just thought that was humorous. Kid brought his mom's rocket ship that she
Yeah,
sleeps under a pillow. Okay.
yeah.
Actually, I thought the Putin thing was next. That's why I went to it. Putin has said, "quote He said this yesterday. Russia will win this war. It's impossible for us to lose. If we are about to lose, we will ensure that
Loses, right?
everyone loses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's what Putin has said.
so that sounds like all right, we'll nuke everybody.
Yeah,
That's what
right.
it sounds like to me.
Absolutely. I don't think you can read anything else into it. Um, okay. Actually, I'm going to save this till the end, um, and go through the rest of the news here. Um, when I first got this, it was at least eight Arkansas at a grocery
Yeah.
store. This was the first footage I got from this.
There's somebody lying in the parking lot, shot.
I think
We are live here at Mad Butcher in Fordyce, and there's a shooting going on.
okay. The shooting's actually going on over here, um, in the parking lot between this tent and this actual building. So that was the first thing I got out of that. Then, like I said, at that time it said there were eight people shot, a total of 14 people shot. I think three of them have passed away. The shooter out here in a little bit, and a police officer also shot. Um, Chris, the ambassadors of Italy, France, England, Sweden, and Germany have left Lebanon. I also got word coming up here from that Canada is planning a mass um, evacuation of all Canadians. So it's these are. I mean, these. It's not like anybody's sneaking up on the idea that there's going to be conflict in southern Lebanon.
Nah, nah. Once embassies start removing their people, it's like, watch it. You know.
Yeah. Okay, this is. I've got footage here of the guy actually doing the shooting. Um, pump shotgun. Um,
Cool.
I mean, I don't have footage of him actually shooting people. This is just, or him firing the gun. This is. I've got footage of him with the actual gun. Um, okay, here it is. Israel's Channel 12 reports that Canada is preparing a massive evacuation of 45,000 people from Lebanon. So, uh, and then statement of Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kuwait telling all Kuwaitis do not travel to Lebanon, and the state of Kuwait leave the Lebanese Republic immediately, and you contact the embassy's emergency phone if you need to get out. Um, and then this is the wrap up here for this. Again, here's the locations. Here's his and three people dead, 14 total shot, 11 civilians, two law enforcement officers, and the suspect himself. So, Chris, this used to be big, giant breaking news that everything would stop, and we would focus on something like this happening. Now it's like every 2 or 3 days we have a mass shooting.
It's a sign of the times, Barry. You know. Um, I just I'm kind of like trying to work on something on active shooters or just things of this nature. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of like people aren't willing to invest into systems that can actually protect, you know, people and whatnot. So I mean, tonight, I think that that shooting that happened at the gas station. All right, that's kind of like not preventable, but probably was preventable because, like I always told you, before any attack, there will always be pre-event indicators. But you have to pay attention to those things, like family members, neighbors, stuff like that. You need to pay attention to that, but they probably didn't, and here are the results right here, right? So
And a
with
lot of people aren't aware that there are, and a lot of people probably aren't aware that there are signs to be looking for, or possibly aren't aware that there are signs to be looking for.
right,
So there's definitely a need.
yeah, yeah, for sure, but our society, I don't think like life is really valued, very much.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm, I'm yeah. Okay, a little bit of controversy here. To me, as an individual person, as far as the Ten Commandments being in a schoolroom, it's not a big deal to me, as an individual. Now, as 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 someone that has instructed, um, government and policy, and the country was designed as the government is separate, and has nothing to do with religion, and religion should have nothing to do with the government. There ought to be an ironclad third rail. There has been, maybe it went way too far. I don't know. That's up to other people to decide. Um, but Louisiana has ordered in every classroom in the state. Um, and here is a humorous response to that.
All right, guys, get out your math books and turn to page 4. Question? Yeah, what's adultery? Um, where did you learn that word? Oh, right. For your mom and dad, okay? Well, it's right. Just tell me. Yeah, I know it's up here, but just ask your parents. Adultery, adultery. I just like saying it. Adultery, 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 adultery. Great.
That's your unintended consequences situation there. Um,
Yeah,
and the last little segment of the night. I think there are a lot of people in this country that feel like this guy does. And
I don't know how any of you guys are going and going and going. I know you gotta be at the same level of mental health as me. Every day it's something new. Between the fucking news and the Trump. And this country's fucked. Every day we're spending more and more money. None of us are getting ahead. The rich people are the ones that are fucking getting ahead. I'm tired of struggling. I've done everything I can. I'm trying to be a good man.
all right, now that's the
I
dude.
take care of my daughter. I take care of.
do what?
That's the dude that you need to watch. He sounds like he's on the edge and he's getting ready to snap.
And I think there are a lot of people. That's why I'm saying I think there are a lot of people like this out here, Chris. I think there are a lot of people that feel the same way this guy feels. That there are so many, that there's so much pressure coming on so many people from so many different directions, and they just feel farther down, and getting told they're worth less than less. And just like you said, we have to question: does humanity even matter anymore? And
Yeah,
you know, if enough people start thinking like this guy's thinking, then the elites need to start watching their backs.
yeah.
Um,
Here's the thing. That dude sounds like
because there'll be consequences if enough people feel this
well,
way.
this dude. Yeah, what sounds like this dude's a murder suicide type cat. I'm
That's
serious.
your opinion so far. Okay, it's I don't think you're going to. I don't think you'll change your mind when we listen to a little more.
The best I can. I can't keep going. Every day it's something new. As if you're not trying to spend money, you have to. Fucking everything's expensive. I own a painting company, I still can't fucking make it. I'm fucking trying, man. I can't look at my daughter and my wife and know I'm failing. I'm fucking Everybody wake up. It's time to stand up. It's time to be tired of this. It's our turn to fucking eat. I, I want my family to eat. I want you guys to eat. Stand up. Let's go. Stand up, man. Let's fucking eat. I'm tired. Let's help each other. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care what fucking color you are. If you're ugly, eat with me. Let's struggle together then. Let's be a team.
Chris?
Right. So he's probably off his meds for one. Right. Right.
Okay.
He needs to get back on his medication to stabilize him. Because I mean, yeah, it's jacked up, but you're really not going to change anything right now. So I mean, you got to ride the wave. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I mean by people that they probably haven't had like a real difficult time in life or haven't done anything real difficult. So when shitty times come, this is what happens. They crumble, you see. And this is like a prime example of this. Now he'll probably lash out, and I get it because you have a daughter and all this. Hey man, I get it, but like it's not going to make it. It's that's not going to change the situation. You see, so I just, like I said, you just have to ride the wave, and maybe you might have to make other provisions. He says he owns a painting company, well, you might have to do something else too to make ends meet. You see, just the reality of things. You see, if the work's not there, then you have to do something else to make it work, right?
And it's not going to get any better.
No, it's not. It's
You know,
not.
that's the thing. That's kind of the thing I wanted to bring out of all this. 1-3, that one individual dude put out so many different emotions that so many people share at least a few of those emotions.
Right.
And the reality of it is, it's not going to get any better.
It's
I,
not.
I wish it was. I wish I could
Well,
say,
it's not. It's definitely not. You know. Um, I just I mean, I listen. Listen. We know what's happening in this country, right? And it's not good. Okay, it's just not good. But you as an individual, if you snap, you still have to be thinking about your daughter and your family. Your daughter depends on you. Okay, so you do some crazy stuff. Who's your daughter? What's going to happen to your daughter? Okay, you need to start thinking. There's micro thinking. I told you, there's micro thinking and macro thinking. Right, and this is what happens when you become emotional. Right? Yeah, I know you're hurt and all this other stuff, but hey, it is what it is. Okay.
and and I also think we are going to see more people
Oh
snap.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
Guy in the video was, and just decide they're going to take their pain out on whoever else is nearby.
Right. Right. So I just you got to watch that. You see, and I'm glad dude put that video out because that would be like a red flag to law enforcement. You
Yeah,
know, You're like,
yeah,
hey, look at this dude. Yeah, he hasn't done anything, well, but we'll keep an eye on him. You see, you see, people do things for them to themselves. You know, you put like I don't know if he's doing this stuff for likes, whatever. It seemed like, I mean, he was serious, but I'm just like, bro, like, okay, we know your stuff's jacked up, but you acting out like that lets me know like there's a problem, a serious problem with you. Okay, that probably needs to be watched. Okay, so for any grown man to act out like that, I'm like, whoa, watch it. Watch it. So
yeah.
that's my take
Okay.
on it.
Um, the title for tonight, it's hot. It's just going to get hotter. Um, it was 126.5 degrees in northern Mexico, um, about 70 miles from the location in Mexico today. It was 125.6 degrees on the 21st day of June. Um, I don't know. It hasn't been below 90 where I'm at for probably the last 5 days, and it's not going to get below 90 for the next 5 days.
Yeah. So just it's a heat wave. You know.
And
Um,
and this is June. It's supposed to be 70s, and we're 20 degrees higher than normal. If we get to July and we're 20 degrees higher than normal, by the way, the 126.5 that Mexico hit today ties the highest temperature ever recorded in Mexico.
mm,
Hot. It was as hot there today as it's ever been,
yeah.
and it's just something we are going to have to consideration. Uh, we're going to have to, or at least me. Um, I you're going to have to make choices. You're not going to be able to sit in air conditioning. Um, not going to be able to afford it
Yeah.
if things keep going the way they are.
Yeah. And that's gonna really burn people up, literally.
It will.
And that's and and I hope you got a pool or something close by, that you can go out and cool
Yeah,
yourself off with, because if not, it's gonna be a long, hot summer.
it is going to be a long, hot summer,
Oh,
and
look, I forgot to ask you about this white boy summer, right? what is really the meaning? If there's a meaning behind that, what's the take on that? The
The
whole
rise of the rise and reassertion of the supremacy of the white boy. I mean, it's just what you would think it is.
so then, all right. Oh boy, it never ends. It just never ends.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to make what we do even more important, Chris, throughout this summer, and who knows how much longer we're going to be able to do it because if this heat does keep coming, there's brownouts and um, I hope the white boy summer is not anything more than just a phrase that they are marketing, but the ramifications of it, um, you know, it's just
Oh boy, I tell you, it just never ends, man.
it doesn't do.
Yeah,
Never
it's bizarre.
ends. All right, man. Thank you so much as always for hopping on here. Hopefully I'll
Oh,
hopefully I'll have my phone reconnected here soon,
okay.
and you know we can stay in touch like normal.
All right, man. I'll
All
talk to
right.
you
If not
soon.
before, I'll see you next week.
Okay, you take care.
All right. Thank you, brother. Peace. And thank you all for clicking on here tonight. We didn't hit on a lot of things. Um, we hit on a few things in depth. Got to pay attention to what's happening in the Middle East with um, Israel and now Hezbollah and Lebanon coming up after as Hamas is wrapping up. Again, Israel is probably going to declare victory in Gaza before too much longer, and the focus then becomes Lebanon. And and I'm going to reiterate here my source told me that Israel will launch a preemptive strike to try to decapitate as much as possible any um, any attempts from Hezbollah firing from Lebanon um, to try to take out the Iron Dome because as Chris also is down, it totally changes the game for Israel and not in their favor. So um, most of NATO is focused on stopping the Russian aggression into Ukraine. Any troops are positioned to go there. Um, Israel is probably as close to alone as it will be, with only the depending on where our position is at the time once this comes about. Um, things could heat up quickly, and it's already hot. Just going to get hotter. Keep it tuned here, and we will keep you informed on this stuff. If there's things you want me to talk about, email me americandufus americandufus at gmail.com. If you'd like to help us, cash at me $ American Doofus, once again, all one word, AMERICANDUFUS, and leave a comment, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're already a subscriber. Thank you to everybody over in the chat. Thank you to everybody watching that's not in the chat. Thank you to everybody watching that isn't watching live. I greatly appreciate you clicking on here. Um, I love y'all almost as much as chocolate chip cookies. And I wish you nothing but peace, love, and blessings, and a wonderful Saturday. Um, brief reminder, Donald Trump will be in Philadelphia tomorrow. Be interesting to see what happens out there, and we'll keep an eye on that. We'll be back Monday night at 11 p.m., if not before. Again, thanks for watching. It's a dark world. Try to be a light.